I'd like to call to order the Common Council meeting for January 27th, 2026 at 6:08 p.m. Attendance roll call.
Alderpersons Wolf.
Here.
Hamel.
Here.
Decker.
Here.
Bryce.
Here.
Schrader.
Here.
Dilge.
Here.
Madden.
Here.
We have a quorum present.
Thank you. Statement of public notice.
This meeting was noticed in accordance with the open meeting law on Friday, January 23rd, 2026.
All right, public comment. City residents and taxpayers only. Speakers will be limited to making comments related to all agenda items, excluding closed session items related to employment and labor issues. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker per agenda item, and there will be no discussion with the Common Council during public comment. To speak during public comment at the Common Council meetings, please complete a public comment registration form. This form must be submitted to the clerk prior to the start of the meeting. Our one speaker today is Kathy Chavarati.
Thank you. I'm going to be speaking on the Committee of the Whole minutes, September 23rd, 2025. I'll be very brief. I think some of you, maybe all of you, have already realized that these are minutes that were involved with the planning of the budget in previous administrations, and I use a plural because in the past it's always been done that these minutes, we make sure that they are approved timely before the budget is presented, and there's a reason for that. It serves as another check and balance during the process of creating a budget. Department heads often look at that, certainly the finance director and the mayor, before the budget comes forward. And on rare occasion, the council does make changes even when the minutes come to them. So it's rare, but it can happen, and it has happened. So I just kind of, if you've already noticed that, great. If not, I'm bringing it to your attention. It's very important because, you know, I don't think anybody here wants another budget error. Thanks.
Thank you for sharing your wisdom. Communication from the mayor's office. HR and public works staff had conducted interviews yesterday and today for Tom's replacement. Tom is going to be retiring this year, and we had 34, I believe, applications. They narrowed it down to 5 or 6, I think, that they actually did interviews with. Very good candidate pool. So they'll be conducting that and be coming forward with some recommendations in the next week, couple weeks, I would think.
Can I have a question about that?
You can ask me offline. It's not on the agenda.
Oh, okay.
And I think that's
Wouldn't that, since you brought it up and we talked about it, isn't that an agenda item?
No. Yeah, I mean, to talk about something, it's got to be agendized. So, I mean, you're welcome to talk to me offline on it.
I just wanted to know if
I
Tom was
just
involved in
clarifying.
the process.
I was just clarifying. I thought
Yes,
anything on here was
quick
an
question.
agenda
Yes,
item.
Tom was involved in the process.
Okay, awesome.
Moving on, consent agenda, voucher approval, resolution 001-2026, expenditure approval for purchase of a 2025 utility crane truck, resolution 002-2026, addendum to the City of Muskego Inspection Services Agreement, and resolution 003-2026, expenditure approval for the purchase of new city infrastructure equipment.
Motion to approve and gross.
Second.
Alderman Decker.
We need to pull the 02-2026 so that we can amend it.
All right. Anything else? The 3 remaining items, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? That passes unanimously. Resolution 002-2026, addendum to the City of Muskego Inspection Services Agreement. A motion and a second.
Motion to amend.
Yeah, I need to get it on the floor first, so make that motion first.
You did it.
Motion to put it on the floor.
Can I get a second?
that.
All right, now you can make your motion to amend.
I didn't hear. Who made the motion?
Alderman Decker made the motion, Alderman Hamel seconded.
Thank you.
Now you can make a motion.
Amend the 90 days to 113 days, keeping the date of April 23rd the same.
Any discussion on the motion to amend? All those in favor of the motion to amend, say aye.
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 Opposed? Now the motion as amended, any discussion? All those in favor of the motion as amended, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you. New business. Resolution 004-2026, preliminary resolution declaring intent to levy area-wide water capacity assessment for water service under State Statute 66.0703, Wisconsin Statute 20th Amendment WCA District.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Discussion. Scott, you want to come up and explain what we're doing here?
So similar, we did this about a year ago. Again, this is our water capacity assessment. Why we're doing number 20, it's Kirkland Crossing. We need to get them in the water district. If they can't get in the water district, when they sign up for water, we can't include them into the water utility, okay? So about a year ago, we did it for number 19. This is for number 20. We have a public information meeting in October. We do a preliminary resolution as part of the water capacity assessment. As soon as this gets passed, the letters go out next week, Wednesday. The public hearing will be end of February, the second meeting in February. It'll all be laid out there. So this is just the preliminary resolution for the WCA for number 20. And then the final resolution with the public hearing will be at the end of February. Okay? And why we do a public information in the fall too is we try to answer as many questions as possible before this comes to a public hearing. Okay? I know a lot of you are looking at this and what is the water capacity assessment? Again, what this is you have to be part of the water utility. So we include a big chunk of the area, which is Kirkland, and about 3 years ago, you guys said do larger areas. So let's think of everything from Racine, north of Little Muskego Road, all the way to, it's just about past Kirkland Crossing, the future developments of the GE. It's a large area. Okay, so let's answer water capacity. You're in this assessed area. How do you get assessed? Two ways. One, you have to have water available, which means if you're in this area and you don't have a water that's in front of you, that means you can't hook up, which means you can't get assessed because you can't hook up. Does that make sense for everyone? Mm-hmm. Two, if there's water available is pressure. So when we get down there, we took a couple along Martin Drive. There's a couple homes pretty high up on Martin Drive right there. They might have a water main in front of their house. We cannot get them water. Why? Is they're so far away from that main and they go up elevation wise. And now think of it, it's a 2-story house. We have to make sure that gets all the way up to that second story so that they have pressure when they turn on the shower that we might not be able to serve them. Now, they could always ask to join up and then maybe put a little booster in their house, but to us, that wouldn't be available unless they do it. Yep.
So because I called late in the day today, I called Tim and left him a message, but you're the contact person on this? If we have any
both Tim and I.
Okay.
Yeah, we can both walk you through this, not a problem.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and we look at all this stuff about it, but why we do the public information meeting, why we do this and this is always confusing because a lot of people, they ask for 2 questions. I don't want to pay for water. I don't want to get water.
Right.
And know what the other question some people ask? Great, I'm getting water. This is awesome. And you're not getting water.
Right.
So those are 2 of the most like overheard questions. And again, why it's kind of nice that it went out and then we get another one is we prepare everyone for about a month before this public hearing comes and ask us. And they're all going to get a letter. It's 1,250 residents will get a letter with everything, just to let everyone know. And they're mostly in Alderperson Decker and Alderperson Hamels districts. Those are the 2 districts that will be getting it. Okay?
So Scott, if I have a well right now.
Yep.
And there is water in front of my house, am I forced to hook up?
Nope. The only time that you guys said the hookup is on a point of sale, 1 year from that point of sale, and that I think has to be like if it's a family member, let's say mom and mom died and it goes to the son, we don't consider that, by the way, so.
And I believe you can keep the well used for
Correct,
outside as
correct.
long as you maintain it.
Correct, as long as you maintain it, you can keep the well and with everything, so, yep.
Is this amendment pertaining to just the current development of Kirkland Crossing, the area, or the whole proposed?
The whole proposed area of Kirkland and everything in there. If you
Okay.
want to, if come and see the map, it's a big area. It
Okay.
just is. Yeah, there should be maps in the attachment.
Okay.
Sort. And we break it down, the maps, to every individual home, just if you see it. Yeah, it's real specific, so,
Alderman Decker?
yeah.
I also don't understand on the last page of the engineering report,
Yep.
where it's a net excess / deficit value of WCA's minus 20,000.
So-
Is that, tell me what that is.
So you're going through, and what you're saying is, as you do the engineering report, and I get a little bit more detail, is we're proposing that, let's say everyone hooks up, okay, in this whole area, they start figuring out what everyone needs when they do this engineering report for this. So they go through and like, okay, this house is gonna need this type of lateral. This could be a commercial one. If you look at it, there's some locations off of Hillendale Road behind, like by the school district, if they were doing, they might do a commercial one, so they put a different meter in there. So we start figuring out engineering report, how much it would cost for everyone to hook up through the WCA. But again, if there's no water there, it's kind of pointless. If you want to go into the more details, come in, I will have the engineer and we will grind out all the numbers for you, okay? Because it's going to be a lot if you want to do it. I'm more than happy to do it with you.
Okay.
Yep.
So the 20,000, it's not necessarily a red flag to see the $20,000 deficit?
Nope. And again, this is all theory. This is all
just an
theory.
estimate.
No one's hooked up yet.
Okay.
This is just potential if everyone in the area does, which we know the water main that's in, it only goes down Martin. It just goes through Kirkland, and that's it. It stops. But we did a big area, okay?
All right.
Come in, talk to Tib and I. We will give you all the details and break it down even more for you if you want.
Okay.
And why are we doing the big area versus just the areas we need?
Because we've kept doing all these small areas and it was like one house, two houses. It still cost me the same amount of money, guys, to put this in the paper, to do it. It's bigger to just do one chunk of an area. And that's why we asked you like 3 years ago to like, can we just do this in big areas? Now, I'll be honest with you, the development that's coming, I don't know when we'll do the next one. Most of the stuff that's in there, for example, like Apple Hills, it's already in the WCA. So I don't need to come to you guys. So this is just a big one down Kirkland. And why it also did is it handles all the phases to the east as well. So.
Any other questions?
But Alderman Decker, come in. I'm more than happy to go through all the engineering report and how we break it down.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes.
Could we, I'm sorry to interrupt, could we possibly flip-flop and do the finance thing real quick? And then the
Can I just-
library?
Let me just get Jeff's thing out of the way and then we'll jump to that.
Well, because I have to leave.
Jeff's thing's gonna take like 2 minutes. It's not even. Explanation concerning notice of circumstance regarding incident on December 17th, 2025 by the city attorney.
Yeah, this is not anything to do, it's just a claim. We're not going to talk about our legal defenses or anything. I'm just making you aware. A person fell at the library on December 17th. She put in a notice of claim. There's no damages yet because we don't know the damages. So within 120 days, she just has to put her notice in. She did that. I sent it to the insurance company. As we speak, I think today, in fact, the insurance company is talking to the library and doing their investigation. We have to wait for a notice of dollars to come in. If that comes in, they'll make a recommendation to you to whether or not to pay it. So it's just making, it's in your packet. It's just making you aware of something that happened.
Okay, any questions? All right, moving on. Discussion regarding the capital improvement plan update. This is just discussion tonight. We've got Jenny and we also have Baird here to talk to us and kind of give us an update of what the capital improvement plan could look like. This is the borrowing for our roads program. So Kevin wants to come up from Baird and Jenny and explain what we got and then take questions.
Well, hello again. My name's Kevin Mullen. I'm from Baird and have been working with the city in developing ideas and thoughts in terms of financing your capital project plan. And you may recall I was here probably in August last as you were developing the budget. And in the budget, you were considering capital projects, and one of the components of funding those capital projects in the capital project plan was borrowing potentially $5 million this year to cover some of those costs. And so the last time I was here, we discussed a project plan that not only allowed for the funding of that, but then also contemplated future funding needs. And certainly the plan does not commit you to that, but the schedule that was included in the packet that you received is a similar schedule to the one that we discussed in August. And I'll just kind of briefly, take you through that plan of finance. It's on the one side is a spreadsheet. I'll refer to that. So reading left to right, we have the levy year, the payment year. So for example, this year in 2025, you adopted a budget in the levy year to make payments for the payments that are due on your debt service in the current year due payment year. So 25 and 26. In the current budget, you have existing debt, if you're looking at that gray line, that represents $2,295,000 of general obligation debt. So that's like your mortgage payment, the portion of the mortgage payment that is supported by tax levy.
So let me interrupt. So then we're going to take the two and the two, because we borrowed 5 million, is a 2-year plan, correct? Is that what this is here?
So no, I'm just reading left to right. We'll get to the borrowing here in just a second.
He's explaining more where we're at right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
The next column is $55,000. That's the amount that of other resources. So you have landfill revenue and other revenues that come into the city that you use to offset a portion of your debt service so it doesn't end up on the tax levy. And the net amount this year in your budget was $2,240,000. And that's been relatively constant year over year for the past few years. So then now, if we were to layer in $5 million this year, that would be part of next year's budget. So the budget that you prepare in 2026 for payment in 2027 would include payments on a 15-year borrowing using this estimate at 3.83%, which is a conservative estimate of interest rates in the current market, for a total debt service payment of in the first year of $230,000. So that would mean that your levy would go from, on the right side, in your budget, $2,240,000, the budget that was just approved, next year to a budget number for tax levy for debt service that's roughly $2,573,000. And then it would increase slightly each year until you get out to the year 2030.
Let me go back just so everybody can understand this.
Sure, absolutely.
The taxpayers. So the interest on the 5 million, if we're going to talk the 2 years together, would be 340,000, and then you have 110,000 coming from hypothetical bid. Why is that a negative?
Yeah, so no, that actually, when bonds are sold, frequently there's a bid premium that the sellers of the bonds deliver back to the purchaser, or to you, so the purchaser deliver back to you, the city. So that's an offset. So that actually would be a reduction in interest in the first year.
So it would bring it down to 230,000.
Right, correct. So that's the net amount that would be.
Okay, and that's including the 100,000 and the 55,000 that we would transfer from, it says conservation fund, which actually is probably our landfill
Yeah,
fund.
and next year that's estimated to be 100,000. So that would be.
That's what I see on there.
Yep.
Okay. I'm just trying to make this so people can understand that what we put together here at $5 million is going to cost us in interest $340,000 minus the hypothetical bid premium coming back to us at $230,000. So this was a major undertaking because now we're paying a lot of interest in here, but at the same time, we're not overbearing the homeowner with a higher tax increase per house. So
Right. And, I think the theory here is, with borrowing always, these capital projects are capital projects that accrue a benefit to not only taxpayers that are here today, but taxpayers that are using that improvement down the road. So it's always or in future years, always a balancing act. You don't want to have to put $5 million in your levy to pay for all that infrastructure in 1 year and put it all on the backs of current taxpayers. You want to spread it out over the people that are going to benefit from that use over time, but that does cost interest to do that. And so, it's always that balance. And so the balance that you and many municipalities struggle with, right, is balancing the annual payment, what current taxpayers pay for those improvements, while leaving room to finance future projects, because that this is not the last bucket of need that you're going to have looking into the future. And I think, this plan, it's probably not exactly what you're looking for, but I think gives you good steps to do both things, to finance and put, those improvements in place that you think that the city needs for your current taxpayers, and leaves room every other year to consider additional projects. In this case, as a placeholder, we used every other year borrowing $5 million for future projects as you continue to make improvements to roads and other, needs in the community. And so that's what that plan represents. Obviously, you can make changes as you move forward, but I think this sheet, even though it's a lot of numbers, gives you a good place to start to think about it critically in terms of what you want in terms of that balance.
Everyone understanding so far? So the impact for the first year, so right now our combined debt service is about 41 cents per thousand. It'll go to 46 cents per thousand.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. So it would be about a nickel increase in the tax rate. And that's assuming growth in value of 1.5% a year. So, clearly you've had growth that's been larger than that, but most of that growth has been inflationary growth. 1.5% a year is a good estimate for what real growth has been or net new construction. And so, that comes close to like what a real field tax increase would be.
I have a question, maybe more for the council, is, are we then, I guess is my understanding, I just want clarification. My understanding is that we're just like earmarking this for the roads. Like this isn't going to go for other big projects. It's just going to be, the council kind of agreed, we're just going with roads on this money. Is that correct? I just want to
That's what I presented it as. I mean, you guys can do what you want with it.
discuss
but-
that. I
but
just want to make sure that's where we're not all of a sudden, putting up
It wouldn't be my
pickleball
recommendation to
courts
use it
or
for anything else.
anything crazy.
So, because right now, it's been a long discussion with the council for a number of years. We all realize that one of our biggest, I'll say asks from the community is to start improving our roads faster than we are now, because they're deteriorating faster than we're replacing them. So this is a plan that we can bring forward that will help us at least start putting a major dent into that. And I can have Scott come up after Kevin's done and kind of explain what this kind of money will infuse and what will allow us to do.
And tag on to that, I did make that pretty clear that this money needs to be earmarked. That's why we were looking to put it together to do the borrowing. So I think we had part of that was in that discussion that was my feeling as well. So I think maybe we're talking on the same page that you were just brought up your concern, Deb. So I think we all agreed upon that. And if somebody didn't, I'd say speak up now.
Well, and it also, the borrowing is one thing. So we borrowed the $5 million. The $5 million gets put into, well, our plan this year will be to use half of that. We bring that forward. Before we spend it, it gets approved by the council. So that's the part of it. And then we'll have the other half, which we'll talk about in a second, but we have that other half that we'll be sitting on for a year. And then that comes forward through the budget process. So when we go through next year's budget, we're going to have roughly $2.5 million in road improvements plus whatever we have in operating. And to fund that, you'll see that it'll come from the borrowing that's already been been done.
Right, and also to mention the 300, I think it was 375.
Right, we
On top of
currently have
that, that we're gonna
375.
fund ourselves out of our taxpayers' money that we already have.
Correct, so it's not just 2.5 that we're looking at spending this year, it's 2.5 plus 375, so.
And then if you're to turn the page over, it's just a brief.
Before we jump
Oh,
ahead, I
sure.
just want to make sure, so as we're looking at this chart, so our plan, even though we're talking about doing a borrowing this year, the hypothetical plan would be to do this borrowing every other year.
Correct.
Does
Under
this chart reflect doing that currently?
It does, and I'm glad you pointed that out. And so it's probably not necessarily obvious to everyone, but the column that says hypothetical future levy supported debt service, those are annual payments that project what borrowing $5 million every other year looks like in debt service. So we built out just a series of borrowing every other year for $5 million and what those annual payments look like, and then plug that into this column so that you could get a sense that if you were to stick with that plan, this is roughly what you would expect those annual payments to look like over that period of time. Now, that's not the sum total for borrowing every other year. You know, it continues out beyond this page. I just didn't want to, provide a real long spreadsheet. But what it is it's a placeholder that maintains that continuity of borrowing every other year and keeping a tax rate that is constant. And so the goal is to, at that level, give you a replacement practice that you can talk about at budget time. Is it more or less than $5 million? And if that's the case, you have a general sense as to what the level set tax rate would be at $5 million. So it's a good gauge, but also a good plan in order to give you something to work towards and work around.
So one might ask, so you're looking at the combined levy supported rate, and like I said, it went from 41 cents to 46 cents next year, and it has an incremental increase until about 2030, and it's at 63 cents then, and it looks like it stays level though. So how are we able to borrow $5 million every year and not have any impact on our tax?
Yeah, and so you've got a couple, a large piece of debt that retires in 2038. And that was, I believe, mostly for renovation of this building and
This building and the one next door, yes.
Yeah, and so, there's room once that retires that allows you to work around that. You also have roughly, $100,000 coming in from the conservation fund. And we're assuming real growth in value of 1.5% a year. So new taxpayers, new businesses, new commercial entities, but not at a great rate. And so, there will be other users, so to speak, that share in that cost over time. So we've taken some of those things into account. So as your existing debt for some of these core projects are paid off, this debt, feathers in around that.
So one ask I'm going to ask you to get to me, and I'll share it with the council once I do. You're using 1.5% of net new construction
Yes.
growth. If I could see a chart with 1%.
Sure,
Now we've
absolutely.
had, last year was 2.8, this year was 1.1. We're still in there, but we've had it like at 0.8, 0.9. So I just want to make sure the council sees the impact of
Something
especially as we grow. Right now our equalized value is around $5 billion, which is a fairly wealthy community. However, to get even 1% of $5 billion is a lot of net new construction. So I'd rather be more conservative and forecast that more honestly. So.
Absolutely.
So how much would this chart change hypothetically? Say we have 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, I don't know, down the road, and we decide not to do this for one reason or another, a high interest, a cost of whatever, so we're gonna skip a cycle. Instead of doing it every 2 years, we're gonna, it'll skip to the fourth year instead of the second year. Is that gonna impact pretty much or?
Yeah, it would be really hard for me to specifically say what it would do, but that's a great question. And I think really why this serves as a good planning tool, because and that will happen. You might have more or less improvements in a certain year, but you can adapt this and say, all right, well, our plan was to maintain, to get to, that plateau where we're replacing roads every other
2038
year.
or whatever.
You can look at what those, not only in that year, but what future years look like and make a decision on how much debt service you want to levy in the current year, given what those future and current needs look like. So it's adaptable, and it's really meant to grow with your needs as they change. You know, it's a way to gauge.
But I guess my question is that how much of an impact would that do on the, I guess, what do you call it here, mill rate, your levy supported mill rate? If we skip a cycle, is that gonna like interrupt our goal to get to 2038 where it's
Everything else
staying
being
steady?
equal, if you skip the cycle, it would probably reduce it.
Reduce it?
Yeah.
You would have a hiccup, probably it would go like this for a year, you know, so you're gonna go down and then back up.
Correct.
Kevin, how common is this type of plan?
Very common, and I would say certainly with regard to levy limits, you know, many municipalities used to have more money built into their current budget for just capital outlay. So, you know, you need a new roof, you pay for a new roof and you put it in your current budget. But with revenue limits or levy limits, you don't have as much of that flexibility. Debt service allows you to borrow for those things, to put it outside of your revenue limit. And so we've seen many municipalities, I would say most municipalities, are borrowing more for their straight capital projects as a result of that.
Any questions? Any other questions for Kevin? Otherwise, I'm gonna have Scott come up here and talk a little bit
Oh,
about.
he wanted to flip the page onto the last
Oh,
one.
yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
go,
that's okay.
Thank you,
And I
thank you.
apologize. I've got a little crick in my
Yep.
neck. I've been ignoring folks over here.
And walk us through the steps, yes.
Yeah, but, yeah, so just briefly on the back page, is a tentative timeline. So, road projects typically are borrowed in the spring or funded in the spring because you need the money to start those projects. Assuming that we were to have this money available to you in mid-May, wanted to give you a sense as to what would be coming not only before council, but also administratively what would need to happen. So likely at the end of March, we would have a resolution that would be referred to as a parameters resolution, which would be the resolution giving authority to move forward with the borrowing. In April, we would go to Moody's to get your rating reviewed and renewed. And then it's very likely that in mid-April, we would be in a position to actually enter the bond market to finance those improvements. And then we would actually have the funds in May. And so it's likely that the next board and only other board action necessary would be in March. However, if there are other reasons that you would want us to come and, you know, provide additional explanation or clarification, we have time between now and then to do that. But right now, that would target a March meeting for a parameters resolution.
I look at this timetable and of course, you know, for us sitting up here, we only have one X on this out of all these. So the question is, this is per cycle of borrowing you're talking, or is this per year?
This would just be for the current borrowing.
So 2027 would, we wouldn't follow this timetable?
So in 2027, there would be no need to do that because we're borrowing for 2 years.
Okay, that's
And then
my
in
question. So then if we do
2028,
it again
Correct.
in 28 and decide to go with the cycle, then we would follow your recommendations here.
Correct.
Okay.
So Kevin, also, I just want to point this out to the council. So if we do the borrowing, we're looking at a increase in interest of, if I'm looking at this right, 212,000 roughly, is that, or am I looking at that wrong? 230.
Next year, correct.
Yeah. So we're borrowing $5 million, we're spending $2.5 million. So we'll be investing the $2.5 million. Typically, the investment that you get is more than the interest that we're paying on it.
In the current market, that would be roughly the case right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's an offsetting revenue that we're going to have that's not reflected in here for that money that we're sitting on for a year, because we're doing a borrowing now, a larger borrowing every other year to save in cost of the borrowing. We'll sit on that money. We won't sit on it. Jenny will invest it wisely. And in the money that we're going to be getting in that investment is an offset, because we'll be getting more in interest in the investment than we're actually paying out for the borrowing. Arbitrage, sort of.
Until the second, third year.
Well,
So, yeah, then it starts,
every other year when we take that
We're
money.
gonna spike a
yeah.
little bit for a little while, it looks like here, and then we're gonna level down.
So if anyone's asking, why would you borrow money and pay for interest on it for a year if you don't need it? Why wouldn't you do it every other? We're doing it to save money on the actual borrowing itself, plus the investment. We will take that money and invest it, and the investment is actually greater than what we're paying out. So it makes sense financially to do that. Okay? Any other questions? Alderman Decker.
Is that scenario influenced by interest rates, though? I mean, is it,
Yes.
if the interest rates were to rise, then that,
Then we'll get more money.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's,
Because they both will rise and lower.
Okay.
So
and it's, so you're investing on the short end of the yield curve, meaning, in a 1 to 2 year investment, and you're borrowing at 15 years. But you're borrowing at a tax exempt rate, and you have the ability to invest in treasuries, which are taxable. So there's, it's always close, but it's usually, roughly right around the longer term borrowing rate that short term investment is. At least in the current market.
Correct.
That's where we're at.
And obviously, it's an investment, nothing's guaranteed, so, but typically, if you look over time, that's what the practice has been and what history has shown. Okay? Thanks, Kevin.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
So before Kevin goes, I just want to kind of give you how road programs and schedules work, because this is kind of important what he gave dates are. So just to let everyone know, we try to get and be the first one out, because right now, every other municipality is putting their road program together. And if we want to try to get out so that we get the first bidders, right now, they're hungry, we want to get the bidders. So I'm giving you a schedule, and then you guys got to tell me what you want me to do. I can, for the 2026 road program, we have the ready to go. We send it to the paper on February 4th. February 11th is the first ad. February 18th is the second ad on Quest. March 4th, I open the bids. March 10th is awarded. Those bids are good for 90 days. We're going to put in the thing, which kind of coincides with May. Now, if you don't like that, I just push everything back. So you guys got to let me know how you want to approach this thing, because at some point, it's going to take me at least 2 months to get it out for following the public, the public bidding rules and everything like that. Now, again, I don't need the money by May, because
We don't pay for it up front.
we don't pay for it up front. Does everyone understand? Like, they
Just
won't
want to
start
get the bids out right now.
Yeah, we could get the bids out right now. I gotta let you know. You gotta let me know. How you guys feel comfortable about this. And we put in there, those bids are good for 90 days. That gives us a little window to kind of play with this. But we usually don't do the first payment probably till August.
So I guess what Scott's asking here, looking at the financial plan, where obviously you're going to get a vote on this at a future date, but are we comfortable going forward with what we're at right now? Because he doesn't want to put these bids out at the scale that we're talking right now to have us come back in a month and say, no, we don't want to do this. Let's just spend the $375,000 we have in the budget.
Since we talked about the road program and Ryan came up here with that chart of all the roads and the color coding.
Yeah.
And a whole bunch of red roads on there what we're going to be asked by citizens in our jurisdictions are like, what roads are being done? What's being worked on?
Yep.
You're talking about putting bids out, so you must know what roads
Oh,
are
yeah.
tackling first.
I can tell you, we can go over
talk
tonight.
about that.
Okay.
We could go over it right now tonight, but I'm letting you know though, why this is all kind of like timing. It's a big deal. But again, just to let you know, no one asks for any money up front. We don't usually, it's after they submit an invoice. Usually a lot of times asphalt plants are not even open till April 15th. They don't even start the work till after Memorial Day. I'm letting you know it's usually in August, September, October. But why it's kind of important too is this. We usually do 2 miles of road. That means we do 8 miles of road this time. So that's quadruple. That means 4 times the amount of letters. That means 4 times the amount of maybe a possible adjustment of utilities. Culvert pipes go in. This is going to be a learning process for us at the DPW and utilities, just because it's 4 times the amount of roads that we're going to handle. Just, I want to give everyone heads up on that.
So the moral of the story is you want to get some bids out and you'll just bring it back to us for approvals if we like it.
Yes,
and
but
if
we
want.
want
But you want a consensus
I kind of want a
that's
gut
okay.
feeling. Yeah. 'cause
I want to let you guys and everyone here.
This is no different than what we do every year, except you're just looking to do it at a bigger scale.
Correct.
Correct.
So I don't see any difference in
And that's
what
the
we normally
important
do.
part, because he needs to put out bid documents that are going to reflect what we really want to do. Because if we decide we're not going to go with that amount, he would put out a different scope of bid process.
Correct. I would change it completely around.
Well, we kind of gave direction by borrowing the money, right? So, I mean, I don't see any change of course. So we're not trying to fix something that's not broken right now.
Okay.
So we're good with this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, like I said, you're all going to get a vote on this. You know, doesn't mean you can't if you find out you change this, but I kind of want to know that, you know, I don't have 5 people up here thinking we're crazy and we need to like just stick with the 375.
Anything, Kevin, from what you do you see that would be a conflict for anything that we do? Okay. I just want to let you know, you heard from Kevin that this is not anything like we would do anything conflicting with what his plan is. Okay? All right. You want to know a couple of the roads?
Yeah, why don't you show kind of roughly what you're going to do? Because as Alderman Dilge said, the people aren't asking, actually, they're not even asking what your question is. They're asking when my road is going to get done, not what roads are going to get done.
You know, that might be a good chart to reissue on the website.
It will be once we narrow it down.
You know, does the city have social media site too?
Yes.
It does, okay.
Yeah.
But just to let you know, the road program every year, there's a separate page always on there. The letter's always on there. Everything that's on there that we possibly do discuss. So again, like I said, as soon as we get the bids out, everything goes online, what it is and what everything was. Okay, so just to kind of give you guys an understanding, when we were just looking at this, and I have when we looked at the 2026, this is our 5-year plan, 26 to 2030.
You're going to have to keep moving
Yep.
so both sides can see it.
So when we were doing this, and we were doing the 26 to 2030, as soon as you gave direction, this whole thing blew up because it doesn't make sense anymore because I'm only working with about $750,000 a year. Now I'm working with 2.874 million. So for 2026, we're going to still do North Shore Drive. We were going to do Scenic right in here, and we were going to get into a little bit of that's Roger Drive and some of Bellevue Drive over there, just to let everyone know. Okay, that's over there. And that's why I say 26, 27, we maybe touch 2 of those roads, and that's it. Okay, so.
That was the plan.
That was the plan.
Yeah, but now.
Now this is the plan. Okay, so we are going to do North Shore Drive, Scenic Drive. We are going to do Schultz Lane for sure. And then we are going to try to get as almost the entire subdivision done of all these in here, which would include Lynn Drive, Velva Drive, Roger Drive, Catherine Court, Dorothy Drive, Dorothy Court, and if I can get out of that entire subdivision. We also will do alternatives for Flintlock Drive, Flintlock Trail, and Woodland Court, okay? Those are the 2, this one here, and Woodland Court right there. So those 2 as alternatives. So we usually do about 3 roads with 2 alternatives. We're now putting out there for sure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 alternatives. Why we have so many alternatives? Guys, this is how we play the game. If we have so much money, we can pull this one in, we can pull that one in, we can do it. Now, we're being very conservative here. If we go out there and our bids, we've never seen bids with this big, I'm hoping to try to get as many roads as we can to get done in this. So we are doing way more roads than we've ever done, just to let everyone know. And now I do not have a plan moving forward. That's our next thing. We first focus on this, and then we're going to come up with a 5-year plan and a 10-year plan. And later in the fall, I can come back to you and say, here's 2027, 28, 29, 30, and 31. So,
But you do have a moving priority list, all your ratings move.
yeah, but
Yes.
And then the other thing is, what is the average life expectancy of the roads?
so remember when I came to you before, our average life expectancy was about 70 years. We were up.
How many?
We were doing 70 years, which is not good. So what you would like to see is, I'd like to see around 30 or 40, but we were at 70. Remember, the first time I came to you, it was
Right.
just under 70, and now we are at 70.
So we can possibly get 30 years out of this.
Yeah, and now again, roads are funny, okay? So for example, where we find, and I'm hoping North Shore Drive, the road is so narrow, we will not have to do a seam. We'll pave it all in one. Like, if you go out there and look at Parker Drive, that's about at least 8 years old, it's a 9 still. Why? There's no seam in it. A lot of them around Little Muskego Lake, when there's no seam in it, which means water can't get in it, that road lasts forever. But then you go to other roads that have only been around for like 25 years, they're terrible. And we figure out sometimes they put fly ash in there, they did asphalt from your roof, and they put in the asphalt, and it just didn't work out well. So the biggest thing with this is this allows us to get it down to 30 or 40 years for life expectancy of the road. And we're just, again, like I showed you, we're hitting 70, and that's not good enough. So
Alderman Wolf, you touched on, we still have our plan, and yes, we do our phaser ratings. And
Yeah.
for you, those of you watching at home, every other year, Scott and Ryan tour every road in the community, and they give them a rating between 1 and 10. It's called our phaser rating. The 10s are the new roads, the 1s are the ones that are falling apart. We use that as a guide for which roads we're going to do. However, what we try to do is find areas that have bunches, because it doesn't make sense to do one road that has a 1 rating in one corner of the city and another one in the other corner of the city. So we try to find areas where we can combine those sections. So you might be doing a road with a 1 combined with a bunch of 3s, because it's combined, it makes sense in that area. But we do use those guides, those phaser ratings still as a guide, but proximity also plays into a part in how we do it.
yeah, and also like Schultz Lane, guys, I've kicked that road down 3 years in a row. Probably this will be 2 or 3 years. And again, it's down at the end. It's cul-de-sac, or it goes to the.
It's like Holtz Drive was.
Yeah, or Schultz.
I know, but it's like Holtz. We
Yeah,
sat
it's
on
like
that one
Holtz.
forever, and
Yeah,
finally
we
just
finally
did
did it. It's hard because it's hard to justify it because there's 2 or 3 homes on it and it's not much, but it's a 2. If you go down Schultz Lane, it's a 2 right now, for sure. And, yep.
You can finish some of this. Did you say was Lannon Drive on your list of maybe?
Oh, yeah. There's again, guys, as soon as we do this, we really are working hard. We just had to do this one because, again, lots of roads. The next 5-year plan, which we're starting as soon as this is done, it's going to take us a while and a couple meetings to try to figure out the next ones coming up. Because also, too, we have to look at some utilities that need to be replaced. And if we have to replace a utility or a water main for a subdivision, that might kick up that subdivision to one of a quicker on the road program. All right.
So there are subdivisions that the water mains underneath the road are failing. So since we have to replace those subdivision roads, even though they're not on the bottom of the list, they're probably more in that middle scale, will be moved to the front, because if we have to replace the utilities underneath the road, we might as well do those roads at the same time.
Yeah.
Is that utility like throughout the whole road?
It would be out to
Or
the
it's just
entire
a section
subdivision.
cutting through it?
It would be cutting through the whole entire, probably in the middle of the road for a new
okay.
water main. And the thing is, if we do it both at the same time, we would do this for the utility. They would do it first, and we'd say, just backfill it with gravel, do it winter work. Don't touch it with asphalt. And then with the road program, I'll hit it with the asphalt with the final thing. It saves us a little bit on the money. We have one subdivision that's having a lot of water main breaks right now. And I think it's going to have a bunch more in about 2 months when we start seeing the thaw happen. Nope.
No. And it's one of the water trusts that we took over the years. So
It's Kristen Downs. It's one that I had on a capital project, and we kept pushing out. And recently we've had at least 3 or 4 water main breaks last year, and I feel we're going to have a bunch more in a couple months.
We took over that water trust about 20 years ago, and material that they use for their water mains, because it was a private trust, weren't the same spec as what we typically use, and so they're failing sooner than normal.
So then we get money from the water side as well to do the roads?
The water side would pay for the water utility for the water main. The
But
road
normally when you rip up a road, the utility has to come back and put money into it to fix it. So we should be getting money from the water side to offset the cost of that road.
So we do that when we have to when we're just replacing the pipe, if we're replacing the pipe and the road is in good shape, then the water utility pay for the road. If the road is at a point where it's within reach of replacement, then it falls under the road program. It's a balancing.
These roads are like
and
fours or fives.
Without getting too far down this rabbit hole, because we're not doing that this year, those are discussions we can have when it comes through that budget.
Yeah, but I want to
year.
make the point that not everybody's paying for water. And if you do that, then they're paying for their fix in there. And I think that's unfair to the taxpayer that doesn't have the water.
I would agree if we were just replacing the road for the water, but we're not looking at doing that.
Okay, well, we'll have that discussion.
Any other, I mean, guys, all this will go online, the letters. Like I said, when we get, if we're following through March 10th and you guys, I bring it to there, in 2 weeks later, April, all the letters start going out to all the residents. All these documents go online. And I can provide this to anyone anytime earlier, but that's when everyone will know what we're all doing, just to let you know. I know there's a gentleman who I have an email halfway done. You copied you on. I'm ready to send the email after. I just went ahead to this meeting tonight. He's in your district. He's talking about Bristol Cone Lane or something like that. That's in yours? Oh, yeah. Yep. And I know more people are getting interested. Yeah.
To take a good look at the patching program too, to save some of this.
Yep.
Any other questions for Scott?
It's going to happen pretty quick. I just want to let everyone know. So, which is, I think, is a good thing. I think that's what you guys want to do.
This is what council's been talking about
Yep.
for years. So, all right, thank you. Moving on, 2035 comprehensive plan timetable. Adam will come up and walk us through this.
I got it.
There, I'm good.
How's that?
So as the council may recall, back in over a month ago in early to mid-December, we provided all of you with the draft of the 2035 comprehensive plan. Since that time, it's been on our website, it's been at the library, it's been in our building, it's trying to get it around as much as we can, have it front and center on our website. So now we're at the stage of kind of getting to the point of actually having an open house and eventual approval of that document that you guys have hopefully been looking at. So what's in front of you in the packet
Can I
is-
interrupt you? Shouldn't that have been attached on here so people could look at it and look at the meetings?
The what?
It is.
The plan,
We never had it attached. The last meeting, you just handed it out to us.
Oh,
And
yeah,
now
they were.
Nobody can pull that up.
Yeah, it's plastered on the website. You can't miss it if you
I
try.
understand that, but as far as easeability for the people that are looking at the meeting, that it would be good to have it attached.
I don't know if we can go back to old agendas and
No,
have
no,
documents.
I know.
We did, if you remember, the reason it wasn't on there was we were giving the courtesy to the council to be the first to view it, so that your constituents weren't seeing it before
My
you.
point is, it's never been attached to anything other than you guys.
It will be in everything, yeah,
it's
because
very well attached to our, it's very well accessible.
Yeah, but it's
so-
not on the agenda.
I don't really.
That's my point.
I get your point, but I think it's being fed, so.
the websites, there's a whole, it would be, there's a bunch of documents tied to
I'm
it,
sorry,
so
I didn't
it wouldn't
hear
make
your
sense to
comment.
have
I didn't hear
it.
your comment.
It's very difficult to not to find it.
Well, I understand that, but I'm just saying, because last time it wasn't attached either, so that's just my point.
All right, let's move on.
Yep. So the purpose of this is just the schedule. So open house is being proposed on February 11th. The open house is just that. It's a very informal setting. We do that for any kind of public plans like this. It's just a chance for the public to come view it if they haven't. If they want to ask questions, if they want to see maps, we'll have some key points, key maps and stuff printed in the room. The consultant that helped us on this will be there for questions. So it's really just a chance for the public to just take a deeper dive into it. Obviously, they can do that now on the website or in our office, but it's a chance to just open that up to the public and take in comments. Then the next formal step for approval would be the public hearing, which is in front of the Common Council on Tuesday, March 10th. Following that would be then Plan Commission does a review and recommendation. The Plan Commission has also been provided the document already too, so it won't be new to them by any means. But that's Wednesday, March 11th. And then final potential council action could be Tuesday, March 24th. So that's the schedule that's in the packet that just outlines kind of where we're going from here. Definitely pass out to your constituents. The open house, we want to make it known. We're going to put that on our website. Like I said, there's a whole website page dedicated just to this plan. I didn't want to obviously put any kind of any of this info out there until the council saw it. Once again, it's on the agenda packet, but I wanted you guys to see it first. As of tomorrow, we're going to be sending a notice to the newspaper. We're not required to notice an open house, but we're making a notification out there, once again, just to try to reach as many people as possible.
Just to remind everybody, we had this issue before. An open house is not an open meeting of a government body. It's just an open house to allow people to come. It's not an open meeting.
You need a public hearing.
The public hearing would be.
Yeah, right. Any questions or comments? Is everyone okay with the time frame? All right. Thanks, Adam. License approval. Approval of a change of agent, Samantha Kuharski, for a Class A liquor license held by Ultramart Foods LLC, DBA Pick and Save, number 381, located at South 74 West 17005 Janesville Road.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's approved. Review of committee reports. In front of you have the Parks and Conservation Committee minute meetings and the Committee of the Whole meeting minutes. The Conservation meeting minutes from November 11th and June 17th, and then the Committee of the Whole meeting minutes from September 9th and September 23rd. Any updates from any of the aldermanic liaisons?
There was a taxi meeting, and so I went to that, and they got a bunch of funding, like government funding cut from their budget, because there just wasn't as much available, so that's all.
Okay.
But they're good.
Any other updates? I did fill in for Alderman Dilge at the festival committee. I'll just give you an update on where the festival's at. The Chamber of Commerce has removed themselves from, as you know, may be aware, that the festival committee is actually made up of, well, originally it was like 10 groups, organizations. Over the years, a couple of them have dropped out because
They were nonprofit groups?
Nonprofits, like the Lions Club, the Women's Club, the VFW, the Chamber of Commerce, the Lake Association, so there's a whole plethora of them. Over the last few years, a number of them have dropped off just because the amount of volunteer hours that has to be put into it is difficult for some of these clubs. The Chamber is the most recent one to drop out. There are 2 other groups that have voted, but they haven't taken official action on dropping out, so they may be down to 3 organizations. We're waiting for some next meeting, they're going to make decisions. However, the 3 that are left are claiming they're dedicated to moving forward with the festival, but we will keep you tuned as far as when we find out more. So, motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned at 7:07.